let me just tell you a little bit, as medical students, what I see out there in the real world, so that you know, because you guys are smart and you're going to read all the studies. I'm out there with the people. And so this is what I see us doing in this country, okay? Whatever we want. We have the Dunkin' Donuts, 2 on the same road now. We have the sodas, we have the coffee drinks, we have whatever we want to do in this country, and we do it. And then, when we get sick, or we need to lose a little bit of weight, we swing all the way over and we starve ourselves. And that's what I see. We skip, we listen to all the studies, we say, well, don't eat watermelon, well, don't eat carbs, well, don't eat this, well, don't eat that. Well, it's rarely do eat anything. And so then we have a lot of very, very confused patients. They don't know what to do. And so they don't do anything. And then they go back to their excesses. I told Dr. Cantarella just a couple weeks ago, a patient, 120 sodas a week, cans, okay? So part of what I do is look at the patient. The patient comes in and I assess what the patient does, okay? Because it doesn't make sense to give the patient information when we don't know the patient. Don't eat potatoes, don't eat this, don't do that. We don't know what the patient's doing. Don't eat so much, because a lot of them aren't eating enough, okay? So what I like to talk about is what I do, and that is we only have one of these bodies, and we need to please feed it. We need to nourish it. And so that's what I do. I assess the patient. How are you? What are your goals? Okay, because the patient is running the body. Okay, what do you want to do? And I ask that, and I take intake. What do you eat? And how's your life? Because their life has to support any new habits. So what doesn't work is to say, even though you got the best information at your fingertips, and studies are on TV, and they say, you know, and now it's low fat, and then it's low carb, and then it's, you know, now it's coffee, now it's not coffee. And that is what does the patient want to do? It doesn't work to tell the patient, you need to do these 25 things and lose 30 pounds by next visit. That's what doesn't work. So let me show you. I'm just going to run through what I tell the patient. Okay, it's what's out in the real world. Okay, you guys are going to have all the science and all the studies and know all that. But somehow we have to get the patient to make a change, because their health, they're sick, they're overweight. Most of the country, they're sick and overweight. And so if we can get them to make a change, their health will improve and they'll feel better. So, oh, you know what? I forgot this. I got so much stuff. I did want to tell you this. We're the land of plenty. We got plenty of food around, and so we've got excess portions, and that's the next section. I want to talk to you about portions. You guys probably weren't even born in 1979. No? Okay, 1979 was the second year.
It's very sad.
Yeah, 1979 was my second year in health care. You can do the math. This was the Shenandoah Apple Blossom Festival. That's a festival we have in Winchester, Virginia. And in 1979, this is the size of the people. I'll leave this up here that you can look at later. And look at the size of the soda in 1979. 8-10 ounces, okay? That was normal in 1979. And the ad still was a lot of propaganda. Coke adds life to laughing and talking about this and that, to singing and dancing or buying a hat. But now we have advertisements, and it is nothing to see an ad for a 32-ounce drink. And so if you triple the food, the people will be triple in size. So just a point of reference. On the left-hand side in the folder, I've given you a lot of information. I heard the topic was breakfast, and so there's information on breakfast in there. The plate planner is what we use in diabetes education. We don't know how to eat a plate of food in this country. And so that's what I teach folks. And I'm going to use layman's terms because that's what I have to do, so that people have to understand between the science to what it is that has to go on their plate. And so down there in the left-hand corner is the protein group. And I tell patients both sides of the story. The good news about protein is it's vital for life. You have to have protein or you die. Okay, I've seen that. It protects your skin and your immune system. If they have a child, say when your child cuts their arm, the protein helps them heal. They need to understand what food does for them. And so I tell them you've got to have protein. And then I'll say, but the food industry markets, come on, let's have a lot. Let's eat a lot of crab legs. Let's have all you can eat fried chicken. Excess protein means I have 2-year-olds that show up at the office with high cholesterol and 18-year-olds in cardiac rehab with heart disease. And so we take something that the body needs and we turn it not very nice, but the body doesn't know what to do with all that. So let me just show you portions of what I show folks. I can have the worst kid in the world and I bring these food models out and they turn into little angels. I have patients eating 22-ounce steaks. So you don't, again, you bring them down. This is still too big. That's 8 ounces. Most people need 2 to 4 ounces of protein. It can be meat. It doesn't have to be meat. Vegans, some vegetarians here, the body, no matter what, still needs protein. So protein can come in the form of roast beef. Okay, sorry, kids have been here breaking my meat up. That's 3 ounces. It's about what fits in the palm of your hand. A 3-ounce burger, 3 ounces of fish, 2 ounces of chicken or turkey. That's the meat group. People on a budget, you don't have money, okay, we move to the non-meat group. It's cheaper. Eggs, poor egg gets beat up. 1 or 2 eggs, we don't need 3 egg omelets on the menus. You guys are growing up with 3 egg omelets. You're the driver for that. You order a 2 egg omelet or a 1 egg omelet. Cottage cheese, a 1/4 of a cup is equivalent to an ounce of meat, so 1/2 a cup, 3/4 of a cup gives you good protein. A slice of cheese or 2. I recommend small portions of real cheese, reduced fat cheese at the least, and not fat-free. It's not real food. Okay, when you take out sugar and fat, you take out and you add something, it then doesn't become food. Cheese gives you protein, and nuts, a little bit of nuts, not a whole can. And my favorite breakfast protein, peanut butter, almond butter, a tablespoon or 2. And so if the patient are big on the burgers, and I'm just going to show you this because this is what impacts folks. Let's see. Everybody pretty much knows fish and chicken are better for them. So I say, you know that? And they say, yeah, we know that. I say, well, let me show you why. This piece of fish has this much fat in it, which is about 1/2 inch. And this piece of chicken without the skin has this much fat in it, about 2 inches. And then the burger that you make at home with the 90% ground beef has this much fat in it, a whole tube of fat. Okay, so and those are the more saturated fats because it's animal products. And then if they're burger folks, what the fast food industry and the restaurant industry does is they say, come on, we'll sell you 2 for 1. Come on, we're going to treat you nice. We're going to watch out for your budget. They buy 30 to 40% ground beef because they're passing on that fat is cheap. And so they're not selling you more protein food. They're selling you more fat. This is the fat in a 1/4 pound cheeseburger. So that's the kind of thing that impacts patients. Is because they don't know. The marketing folks spend so much money on marketing that's why they're all confused. On the right-hand side of the plate are beautiful, beautiful vegetables. And so vitamins and minerals that aren't in the bottle from nature. The rule, 1/2 a plate for lunch, 1/2 a plate for supper. Okay, we've got a nation full of no vegetables at lunch. That's what gives us vitamins and minerals for our hair and our eyes And it's best to eat them from nature. So half a cup cooked is a size. It's unlimited for most folks, unless you're on Coumadin, or you have a digestive problem, or you can't eat raw or whatever. A cup of raw veggies. And I'm not really opposed to canned. It does have the sodium, but the nutrition is preserved from the farm to the can and the farm to the freezer. I said, just rinse the salt off. Some folks have to shop at Big Lots and Aldi's and whatever. I don't care how we get the vegetables in. And you know what? As doctors, you may end up back here, right? So we still have land here. So a seed is cheap. We are seeing some gardens popping up. I went to visit a garden. There's something called Promise Neighborhoods that I'm not sure how that is, but places are sponsoring and whatever. So I went to look at a garden because I'm speaking to a group next week. And you can see there was an ethnic influence, a lot of tomatillas there, which I don't know what to do with because I planted one also. And so those folks are going to tell me next week what I'm going to do with that. But I was amazed, and I have got to have this for my garden. They had big, beautiful, ruby red Swiss chard. It's like, I've only got green Swiss chard. So things are happening. On top of that potato is some fat, and I saw you talked about veggies, and that was one of the topics. I'll just give it to you from my perspective, and that is fat is greasy food, butter, oil, margarine, mayonnaise, and the good news about fat is it tastes good, and fat-soluble vitamins needed. If I think the person can handle which ones those are, I tell them, but otherwise I say some vitamins need a little bit of fat. But when we swing over and eat too much, we fry everything from pickles to ice cream in this country, and then it's too much. And so it's a little dab. It's a teaspoon of margarine, it's a tablespoon of salad dressing, teaspoon of mayonnaise. And again, when you take all the fat out, I mean, body needs some real fat. So oils are the best. Olive oils, corn oil, I've got some nice avocado oil, coconut oil, controversial, but you know what? I would use coconut oil, but you only get a little bit. So I'll tell the folks, a couple drizzles per meal, 2 or 3 drizzles, it's not the main course. So that sits pretty well with them. Up on the left-hand side, we have fruit. And so fruit is a carbohydrate. It gives folks energy. It provides antioxidants, phytochemicals, vitamins, and minerals. We encourage folks in diabetes education not to eat so much fruit. And you're in an area here, well, you know, people eat a half a watermelon around here. And so what I do is show you the correct size, and you've got to be careful. I've got folks drinking 1,200 calories a day in juice. It's like, well, a little bit of juice is okay. We can work it in if you love juice. It'd be better to eat the orange. But again, all this negative talk about don't do this and don't do that and don't. Anything can be included in a small amount. Anything can be included in a small amount. So 4 ounces was the size when I grew up. You got juice on the table. This is what you got. Now it's packaged in 20-ounce bottles. Half a banana, correct serving size. Not that you can't eat a whole one, that's a double serving. Not the largest apple on the tree. Half a grapefruit. About a cup of berries and melons. Okay, some folks have to have the can with the sugar. Half a cup canned fruit is the correct size. And some folks do overdo this, and it's 2 tablespoons of dried fruit. And it usually is helpful if I can relate that these raisins give you the same energy as the watermelon, okay? And that food has a size, you're kind of like a car, and that's why we have it in categories, because otherwise, how would you know what to eat? The body needs a little bit of everything. At the top of the plate is the potato, and that is another carbohydrate that gives you energy, vitamins, and minerals. a little bit of protein, which is why we don't need a big hunk of meat on our plate. So you get a little protein there. And that would be about a cup of cereal. Half a cup of oatmeal is the correct serving size. That gives the body the same amount of energy as far as carbohydrate. If you make oatmeal from scratch, that gives you a double serving. And I can show folks how to do that, but what we do in this country, as soon as we hear something's good for us, what do? We overeat it. Oh, I'll eat oatmeal all day now. And next week it's like, well, I heard blueberries, we're going to eat blueberries all week. So we should encourage folks to eat a variety of foods. I'm a dietitian with a sweet tooth, diabetes on both sides of the family, and I eat everything. Poor potato gets beat up. The white potato gets beat up. It's from the ground. It has potassium, vitamin C. It has skin with fiber in it. I eat white potatoes, orange potatoes, blue potatoes, red potatoes. There is a blue potato if you've never had it. It's kind of purple. She's had it. Yeah, it makes beautiful potato salad in the fall at Halloween. Purple and orange potato salad with a little rosemary. And so white potato, mashed potatoes, correct size. Sweet potato, that's small. It's good for you, but again, just because something is good for you doesn't mean we overeat it. That's what we want to do in this country. We want to overeat everything. A slice of bread is 1 serving of a carbohydrate. A bun is 2 servings. So folks need to know that. This might kill this, even though you guys are medical students, this could kill you. This is the correct size of a muffin.
It's a muffin top.
Yeah, okay, when I grew up, just to show you this is the muffins that we made. And this one really might kill you. It's a mini bagel. That's dense carbohydrate. It's a mini bagel. Crackers, 3-gram cracker squares is the right serving size. The box tells you eat 4. Guess what that's all about? Sales. And crackers this size, carbohydrate, about 5 or 6. See that? Okay, speed up a little bit. We show people for diabetes that most of the veggies are unlimited, but peas and corn and lima beans are carbohydrates. We do use the word carbohydrates, but sometimes it helps to say it turns to sugar. It's still really, really, really good for you, but the serving size is a half a cup. It's a half a cup. And then sometimes this is helpful to show that when you take this half a cup of beans and you put sugar to make baked beans, here's how the size diminishes. So that they can understand that anywhere you put sugar, you put calories and you put energy into the body that doesn't give you vitamins and minerals. And then the last, and I got sheets for these, I'm not going to get into every little thing because I have more to say, but because this will really sink them on the floor. Rice and pasta. That's a serving of rice or pasta. And so I get them more than this, but we have to get them to understand that a handful, that is a serving. So that's that group of carbohydrates. And then over in the right-hand corner is milk. The dairy group is split cheese and cottage cheese or protein, and milk, calcium, vitamin D, a little bit more protein, and that is 8 ounces. Yogurt, I will just say without the candy. And you know what? 9 out of 10 patients got a sweet tooth. I get it. So I just include up there on the right-hand corner half a cup of ice cream or pudding sometimes just because. I'd rather see them have a half a cup of chocolate pudding here and there than a whole pie on the weekend. So all things in moderation. So anyway, the plate that's before you is the plate of food that a woman with diabetes needs to eat 3 times a day. I have to tell people that. I have to tell people they have names, folks. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're skipping. They're not nourishing this. We have to have nourishment in the body. We have to pay the price. We have to buy food ahead of the new cell phone and the new tennis shoes and the new curtains and the new car and the new, what we do is all that material expense first, and then if there's any money left, we don't have money. The goal, when I talk to folks, is say you need water first, you need a plate of food 3 times a day. The goal is, if they say, well, first they look at me like I'm crazy because they think that's too much food. Then I spout off all the food I've eaten that day. And I said, that's why you're tired, because you're not eating carbohydrates, you're not nourishing your body. The goal is, I can do this, this is easy. If I hear that, it was worth getting out of bed that day, okay? And the goal is to be able to get them to say that, which means I have to go where they are and move them a little bit, okay? If they've got financial problems or family problems or cooking problems or whatever kind of problems they have, that comes with them. And so I can't give them a list of 25 things to do just because I'm the dietitian, I went to school, you're the medical, you're the smart ones. You have to go where they are and move them along. So, what do we do when we go to the grocery store? And let me give you a couple tips here. And I can go on till tomorrow morning, but Doc says I can. I'm going to tell you a little bit about a label, but let me tell you what I do first, okay? You guys know this? Okay. All right. I love it when they say, oh, I just bought a box yesterday. First of all, a label means it's processed. Okay, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on all this label stuff. It's like an apple doesn't have a label, and a potato doesn't have a label, and a chicken breast doesn't have a label, and so a label means it's processed. So if it is processed and you have a label, what's listed first, you guys probably know this, but I just want to make sure, is the first ingredient. This is sugar. What's listed last is what's in there the least amount, and that is called sorbic acid. And so what I like to know from people is, do they cook at home with sodium acid pyrophosphate, dextrose, stearoyl lactylate, polysorbate 60? Do they keep that in the cupboard with the salt and pepper? And they don't know what that is, and I didn't look them up either. Probably chemicals to preserve the life of the cupcakes. Also, they put a little beef fat and pork gelatin in here. So that doesn't gross them out. I don't know what would. Dr. Seuss says, Mr. Fox, sir, I won't do it. I can't say it. I won't chew it. So the first lesson is that this is processed. And the second lesson is, what the heck are the words? Okay? We should know the words. Salt, pepper, apple, butter, oil, corn. All right? That's what we should know. The other thing we should know is it doesn't take 45 ingredients to make a cupcake. I'm not anti-cupcakes. Okay, I made chocolate chip cookies last week with pulverized oatmeal and whole wheat and eggs and sugar and salt and the best chocolate chips my money would buy. And I want us to know what goes in here. All right, so that's that lesson. So if you, oh, there they are. I lost my crackers. If something is processed, certainly you need to identify what it is. I wouldn't believe too much what's on the front because that's marketing. And then you turn this around and they have 2 ingredients, whole wheat and salt, 2 things. So I follow this advice for myself. If I pull something off the shelf, even though I'd like Kashi products, they put too much stuff in, I don't have time to read a long list, even if it is beet paste and prune juice and whatever. I'm on a short list. And so you need to buy products with a short list. If the cupcakes didn't work on the patient, then I'll pull these out. Anybody heard of the Cheesecake Factory? Au Bon Pain, okay, Cheesecake Factory. These cupcakes came from the Cheesecake Factory, and they were $10, not my money. They are 3.5 years old. This is true, they're real, 3.5 years old. There's 99 ingredients in here. one ingredient is propylene glycol. You guys know what that is? Antifreeze. Okay, now set the scene here. French bakery in the city, coffee, donuts, cupcakes, fudge, whatever, the smell of the coffee. I mean, this is not how to treat our body. I'm not anti-coffee or anti-let's have sweets, but do we really want propylene glycol in our system? So that's that. Just a couple more examples. Can I give a couple more?
I'm still stuck on the pork fat in the Christmas cupcakes.
Just a couple more. I mean, I can't buy everything, but sometimes I get so mad. I got something now in the office. It's like, I gotta call. As opposed, you're getting quinoa tomorrow, right? You guys have quinoa? Okay. It's a grain from the Andes Mountains, and 1/4 of a cup of quinoa, it's carbohydrate, has 4 grams of fiber, 5 grams of protein. Listen to this. 10% iron, 10% thiamine, 2% niacin, 15% folate, 20% magnesium, 4% vitamin E, 8% riboflavin, 10% B6, 10% phosphorus, 8% zinc in the grain. Okay? Now what macaroni does is that macaroni is from wheat. And so what we do is we churn up the wheat and we make white flour, we make macaroni, and then we enrich it. And we get rid of the vitamins, but then we put them back. Okay? This came in the package. Right? So that's a good example. I did debate on this. This was $4.99 to $1.88. And I didn't even want to spend $1.88. And I put it, gotta have it. You see, I need it. What the companies have done, now the grocery store's loaded with this kind of stuff. Bright colors, name recognition, Reese's and Hershey's. Okay? They must know people are getting smart. Whole grain is the first ingredient. Okay? So we got grain information here. We've got grain information, more on the grain. And so there we have it. Oh, box top. How could you not buy this for your kids? There's ads about that. We're killing our kids. We put the box top. We have advertisement. Walmart has it. Mom said, well, you're being generous about this for their education. But we're killing them by feeding them this in the first place. Okay? Oh, I just, we don't have enough time for all that. But anyway, so as a dietitian, you look at it, 38 ingredients, 5 kinds of sugar, 5 kinds of dye. We have a lot of dye in our food. The 14 vitamins and minerals were added to the product. And the other thing we've done is we connected a poor quality food to the box top. You would think there would be some fiber in here because of all the grainy stuff. 1 gram. 1 gram of fiber. And so, you know what? I had a really smart train rider, government worker, husband and wife, and they came to one of my talks with the kids. And I was talking about, well, what do you feed your kids? And I said, well, they can have peanut butter banana sandwich or oatmeal with peanut butter. I'm a peanut butter. I love my peanut butter. I mean, and he said to me, he fed his kid this and this, which I'll tell you about in a minute. He said, you don't worry about the fat in the peanut butter? This is what he fed his kids. Okay? I said, no, I don't worry about the fat in peanut butter. And so the Pop-Tarts have 45 ingredients, 9 dyes of colors, 6 added vitamins and minerals, and 1 Pop-Tart has the carbohydrate equivalent of 3 slices of bread. So we could have had lots of stuff in place of that. And the last one, and then I'll send you to the grocery store. Well, 2 last ones. Good news is, anybody have hemp hearts? It's the part of a hemp plant. 3 tablespoons, 170 calories. That's a bit high, but 13 grams of fat. Also, it's from the seed. 3 grams of fiber, 10 grams of protein. That's like an ounce and a little bit more of meat equivalent to. In this little, is it a seed? It's a seed. 2% calcium, 25% thiamine, 80% B6, 45% phosphorus, 20% zinc, 20% iron, 6% riboflavin, 8% folate, 45% magnesium, 110% manganese in a little seed. And so that's that, and the last one, and then I'll make a reference to your label, and then that's it. So we've got Jif, omega-3 fatty acids, good for the heart, right? You could agree with that? Are we teaching that now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to the store, now I'm gonna have this. Put it in the cart, omega-3, wow. Excellent source, omega-3, DHA, EPA, wow. List some more stuff about that. Wow, I'm gonna live forever. So, but how did that, what did they do to put that in there? Well, anchovy and sardine oil and tilapia gelatin is how the omega-3 got in there. Now, there is no picture of a fish here. What do you do if you have a fish allergy? Okay, I called the company because occasionally I get really wound up, more than now. And I said, I got a little problem with your peanut butter. And I said, what do you do if you have a fish allergy? Well, we would hope the customer would look on the label. Really? In this country? She said, I'll note it and send it along. But people don't. If people read labels, they wouldn't eat cupcakes with beef fat and pork gelatin. So, the last thing is there is some label information in your packet, and just pull this out. So the first label is to know what your money is. Look at the ingredients. Then you may look at this, and there's all sorts of tips and numbers. Who has time to remember all that? But you can look at the serving size. Okay, I look at the serving size after I look at the list. Serving size, check the calories. You want to limit saturated and trans fat, and then there's a guide. 5% is less, and 20% is a lot. So if you don't want it, you go for 5%. If you do want it, you go for 20%. It is nice to get something down here in the vitamin A and vitamin C. If you get crackers sometimes, 0, 0, 0, 0, it's like, well, what's the point? We want something for our money. When all else fails, if people don't really pay attention to this, there is a little guide at the bottom for calories, how much fat for a 2,000 calorie diet, how much saturated fat, how much cholesterol, how much sodium, and the label is based on 2,000 calories, how much carbohydrate. That would not be for diabetes, that would be for somebody without diabetes, and how much dietary fiber, and then the percent is based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So if you eat less than that, you go low. You would need lower than that little guideline there, but it gives it's right there on the label, so you have your information, kind of, sort of, if you don't have any clue. It doesn't list how much trans fat you should have. It doesn't give you a percent on the trans fat. The recommendation is none, no trans fat. Anyway, thank you for your attention. I'm going to come to cooking. I've got a couple of charts and a couple of errands to do, and the menu looked really good. And so I think it's so cool. We need to cook. We need to know how to assemble food. You don't have to be a chef, but we need to encourage our patients to plant a seed and to cook and to drink water and to eat real food. And of course, we got to move some, but we can't give them 100 things to do. We just have to practice it, and then we have to show them that you can have a chocolate ice cream cone and you can have a little Coke. By the way, whenever I see medical students over in the cafeteria, I've got to give you good grades. If I see a medical student with a soda, it's always small. You see a healthcare worker over in the cafeteria, and you see the big bottles. So thank you for doing that.